My name is Griselda, and I run a women's network called Forward Ladies. We are very strong up north. My question is, what are you doing to support women further downstream? Because I did 2 engineering degrees and a finance degree, and I still don't work in any of these fields because I just found it a bit too rough. I'm more confident now, and I'll cope better in that field. But what are you doing with the new graduates to get more women study engineering and technology? Because when I was in uni, I think it was about 5 girls in the class, and it was all guys. So what are we doing to support younger women, one, and what are we doing to support women already in the workforce when they have babies to stay in the workforce?
So I'm breathing my way out of the skills shortage at the moment. I have a 20-year-old who's just dropped down to a computer science degree. I have a 17-year-old who's about to go into a computer science degree. But one of the things I said to her is, look, now that university is like $9,500 a year and you need another sort of $6,000 a year for living expenses, perhaps you might like to think about an apprenticeship. And we went along to the BBC. They have a sort of undergraduate apprenticeship scheme going on there, which is quite good actually. And I went along with her, and parents could go as well, and she's 17, and there was a mix of sort of ages there. There was a lot of boys, quite a few girls, but a lot of boys, and they said, look, if the kids would like to go and sit on the tables, and the parents would go and sit at the back, and Lucy's sort of fairly confident, so I said, oh, shall I go and sit at the back? And she went, whatever, and I thought, ooh, she doesn't say yes. She said whatever. So I could see she was lacking the confidence to do that. So I sat on the table with her, and then they said, right, we'd like you to round the table, we'd like you to talk about who you are, what you've done, what's your interest in broadcast engineering, and blah, 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 blah. And I could feel her seize up next to me, and I thought, this isn't the daughter I know, this isn't how Lucy is at home. She's clearly very intimidated by being with all these men. So the guy said, oh, who's going to start? And I thought, I'll start! I'm Elizabeth, I do this, that, and the other. Over to you, chap next to me. So it gave Lucy the breathing space to, by the time it had gone all the way around the room, I had no idea she was going to be like that. I had no idea that that was the way she was going to react in that environment. I took her along to the 300 Sex, SECS, not SEX, by the way, event the other night, and I said to her, right, Lucy, you're going out, this is a test of your networking skills. I want you to get out there, I want you to go and speak to people you don't know and make conversation, and don't rely on your mother doing everything for you. So she said, where are we going to start? I said, we'll start with Chris, and she said, you just said speak to someone we don't know. I said, you don't know him. Come on, let's go and speak. And I think we have to take that kind of approach with the youngsters, because they may seem confident, but they just need that little bit extra egging on. And certainly in the workplaces I've been in, where I've had the girls, there was, I think, 5 girls on our engineering degree. The degree that Callum was on, there was 1 girl on the computer science degree, and I said, what's she like? He said, I don't know, nobody speaks to her. I was like, oh, the poor girl. I bet if she was attractive, they all would be. But there's that whole sort of, you have to be conscious, even the people you think are going to be confident, they're not, and you just got to go out of your way always just to encourage people. Like I say, you wouldn't have known that I was on the brink of jacking it all in. It was just that little bit of encouragement you gave me, that was all I needed. You lunatic. So it's about being aware of everyone around you and not just doing formal things, but just informally, constantly, yeah, go on, have a go at that, go and speak to that person. She's actually booked herself onto a networking course by Will Kinter. She's a friend of mine. He said he'd have it for free, but you know, she's 17 years old to be sort of going out and going on LinkedIn and saying, actually, these are skills I need, I'm going to master these now, so when I'm having to do this, when it's for real, it's not going to be frightening. And it's getting them young enough and getting them doing that sort of thing, I think, makes a difference.
So endorsing what Lee said earlier, I think there are challenges, and it's astonishing for me, having been working in London for the past 8 years, that again, more or less on most platforms, it tends to be men, and I was there at the Business Summit and rather astonished. The issue that I want to kind of raise is that, yes, absolutely, we have got individuals that are breaking ground and are the ones that are mentors or role models. But having now just undertaken a couple of projects with the university, I am astonished at the pace that students are working at in terms of using technology, the way they think, the paradigms they work within are very different from our era. Are we not, isn't that where a lot of the time and investment should be going? And it felt very much to me until the end of the questions that we seem to be not acknowledging or recognising that the breadth of talent and the way those individuals think, particularly because I've been doing some work on entrepreneurship in that field, I think it's an untapped audience, and I think some of what you're talking about, and certainly in terms of acting as mentors and role models, I think there's a huge opportunity. And the way the next generation think, they are already thinking about becoming entrepreneurs and setting up their own business. And I think part of what you've talked about this evening, and by the way, I too am an engineer, 2% of women in my field. So from that perspective, I think that it would be very interesting to see how you could broaden this to start capturing some of that potential that has really blown my mind since I've come back and worked at the university for the past couple of months.
There's such a shortage of engineers and developers in the industry right now, and because there's such a shortage, they can essentially demand wages that are sky high. I mean, there's a number of organisations in Manchester and the surrounding areas who can afford really sky high wages, and startups can't compete with that. They just can't. So what they're doing is actually looking to universities to get those like bright young minds and people who haven't been corrupted by the corporate world, who have still got those fresh ideas and still want to make an impact in this. And I mean they are like the classic millennial generation who it's not just about how much you earn, it's the quality of life and the impact that they're making and all of those things. And so startups are definitely, I've seen that. A number of startups at Spaceport take on interns who end up sticking with them and become employees. So that's a trend that I've already seen.
One of the things I wanted to say actually, that when we're speaking with the businesses, what we find is that actually it's not necessarily about the business expert mentoring the student, it's actually about the student mentoring the business expert, because there's lots of things from this new generation that they can actually bring in and help to support the older generation. Lots of the SMEs that we work with, they might be plus 50, they're in that kind of generational area where they don't necessarily understand technology and how it can help to support them. So we're bringing younger people into the organisations to actually help to, I suppose, innovate internally and disrupt themselves. So I think that that's definitely something that needs to happen, more of that collaboration between the actual industry sector and universities to help support that.
Yeah, I think as a startup ourselves, one of the problems we have working with the universities is, I think the BBC is suffering from it as well, it's the Facebook effect. The graduates that the BBC would have once got, now the likes of Google and Facebook are going in and cleaning these guys up early on. In fact, I crashed one of their events the other day and I thought there was going to be nobody there, and then I was the oldest person and 300 children. I felt such a moron. Anyway, as a startup, it's very difficult to get hold of these kids and interest them, because the brightest ones, they want to go and work for Google, they want to go and work for Facebook. Saying that, we've managed to get a couple of guys in. At the Torrey Track, what we did, we had a real policy of getting the graduates in, doing them on a year out, and then they all wanted to come. We gave them equity, everybody knew what it was worth, they had a stake in the business and blah, blah, blah. And I think that's the only way as a startup you can reach out to these people, because we're not Google, we're not Facebook, we're not massive. We're actually thinking of moving to Rossendale, which isn't very sexy at all. They haven't even got broadband down there. But at least that way we can attract people that, if we're in the centre of Manchester, we're fighting with everybody else for talent. They still do it from the outskirts. We're looking for the people that like their mountain biking, like this, like a quality of life, want to have a share in a business, want to do something exciting, want loads of responsibility, and we're trying to encourage those people in. But having a voice as a small business in the universities is difficult. We've done some work with Manchester Business School, and we've got some we've done some promo videos for them, and this, that, and the other, and we're hoping to be able to reach out to some of the more entrepreneurial students that way. We don't even care if they finish their degrees. If they've got the right kind of attitude and they're willing to get stuck in, then